In the secluded settlement of Little Fork, whispers of a disquieting tale have woven through the community over the years. Stories abound of elusive beings known as alternates, who clandestinely abduct and imitate the townsfolk. Initially appearing human, these alternates bear unsettling features such as lifeless, bulging eyes, and unnaturally elongated limbs. Dr. Emma Wilton, however, paid little heed to such rumors. Her quest led her to pursue another of Little Fork's fabled legends, the ivory-billed woodpecker. Once a majestic inhabitant of the American wilderness, this bird had long been declared extinct by most bird enthusiasts, Emma included. Despite the absence of official sightings since 1941, murmurs persisted among locals of encountering a sizable bird with glossy ebony plumage reminiscent of the ivory-billed woodpecker. Embarking on her journey alone, Emma made her initial stop at the solitary hotel in town. The weathered facade of the building boasted an aged, creaking porch where two elder gentlemen lounged in wicker chairs, wisps of smoke curling from their cigarettes. Their gaze fixed upon Emma with an inscrutable stare as tendrils of smoke wafted from their lips. Within the hotel's confines, a stout woman manned the reception desk. Emitting a weary sigh as Emma approached, she appeared vexed by the prospect of attending to her duties. "Can I be of assistance?" she inquired, her tone tinged with exasperation. "Yes, I've reserved a room under the name of Robert Monroe," Emma stated. The woman blinked languidly. "But you're not Robert Monroe." "No, I'm not. However, the reservation was made for 2 occupants." "That's correct," the receptionist affirmed. "And I am the second guest. I am Emma Wilton." "I understand," the woman replied. "But where is Mr. Monroe?" "He has opted not to accompany me." "And why is that?" "That's personal," Emma retorted, attempting to mask her irritation with a forced smile. "I'm afraid I cannot permit you to stay in the room. It was reserved under his name," the receptionist stated firmly. Emma clicked her tongue in frustration, surveying the dreary interior of the hotel. Aside from the 2 gentlemen outside, the premises appeared devoid of activity. "Forgive me, but this establishment doesn't seem particularly bustling." "None taken," the receptionist replied dryly. "What are the odds that someone would correctly guess a guest's name upon arrival?" The corpulent receptionist pushed aside a greasy lock of hair and shrugged. "It's our policy. If you'd like, you can call him." "No," Emma interjected hastily. "You must have his contact details on file. Perhaps you could give him a call instead." With a resigned sigh, the woman reached for the phone and dialed Robert's number. As they awaited a response, Emma paced restlessly around the lobby, her attention drawn to a sparse bulletin board adorned with only 2 notices. One advertised a local concert from 2 months prior, while the other, a weathered sheet, detailed the disappearance of a young girl named Ashley 2 years prior. Though tragic, Emma harbored no personal investment in the matter. While the receptionist attempted to reach Robert once more, the 2 elderly men from the porch ventured inside. "We don't often receive visitors," remarked the first, his toothless grin exuding a pungent odor of tobacco. "It's not safe around these parts," added the second, his lips thin and desiccated, stretching across his face. He gestured toward the missing person poster displayed on the bulletin board. Offering a courteous smile, Emma replied, "I am solely here to explore the forest." "That's precisely where you should avoid. A malevolent presence lurks within those woods." Poor Ashley fell victim to it, and she was not the only one, the toothless man asserted. "Not so. There was no malefactor," countered his companion, prompting a disapproving shake of the head. "Rumors claim she was spotted in the neighbor's barn. However, she was not, but an imitation, a counterfeit." Emma had heard such tales before, but she lacked the inclination to engage in debate with elderly gentlemen. "Thank you for your concern. Rest assured, I shall exercise caution," she assured them politely. Fortunately, Emma was beckoned by the receptionist, who informed her cheerfully that Robert could not be reached. Having left a message for him, the receptionist permitted Emma to leave her belongings and explore the town in the interim. It was a welcome reprieve. She had grown weary of the hotel and its vexing occupants. With her camera slung around her neck, Emma resolved to venture into the forest to commence her research. The ancient woodland enveloped Little Fork on all sides, a verdant shroud that loomed behind every edifice and at the terminus of each thoroughfare. However, there were no entrances into the Little Fork forest. They had all gone unused and overgrown with vegetation. Gnarled branches crossed over one another like a wall of mossy veins, and from the earth rose tall reeds of grass that hid the forest interior from view. Just beyond the hotel's threshold, Emma stumbled upon a slender opening amidst the trees. Despite her petite frame, she effortlessly slipped through. Yet, as she vanished into the dim woodlands, a chill prickled her nape, a sensation of unseen eyes upon her. Glancing back, she caught sight of the hotel men, their visages devoid of expression, silently observing her departure. Unperturbed, Emma forged ahead, her thoughts consumed by weightier matters. Following her exchange with the receptionist, her mind turned to Robert Monroe. A distinguished ornithologist, Robbie possessed a silver-tongued eloquence, accompanied by a chiseled countenance and piercing azure gaze. Emma, ensnared by his allure, succumbed to his charms and the allure of his embrace. Amidst their amorous encounters, Emma and Robbie found solace in academic collaboration, their professional synergy a testament to their shared passion. As their personal and professional spheres intertwined, Emma found herself envisioning a future entwined with Robbie. However, unbeknownst to her, their perceived relationship held disparate meanings for each party involved. Thus, when Emma broached the subject of motherhood and their hypothetical offspring, Robbie deemed it necessary to delineate their true status, a decision that precipitated their parting. Emma lamented her naivety, hoping her quest for the elusive woodpecker might foster greater perceptiveness. Yet, amidst the sprawling canopy, no creature stirred, and the rhythmic drumming of a woodpecker's beak remained elusive. Instead, a disquieting rustle permeated the air, signaling the approach of an unseen entity, a force that shook the very foundations of the forest as it drew near. Backtracking cautiously, Emma brandished her camera, capturing a fragment of the looming presence. A grotesque amalgamation of sinew and decay, it emanated a sickening aura, inducing a primal terror within her. In her panicked retreat, a misstep led to a fateful tumble, her descent halted by a jagged outcrop that robbed her of consciousness. Caught in the liminal space between wakefulness and oblivion, Emma envisioned herself ensnared within the embrace of the enigmatic creature, a tender yet unsettling communion that blurred the lines between maternal care and grotesque fascination. Once Emma came to, she found herself in a cave on a bed of moss. Moonlight shone through a hole in the stone ceiling. It fell on her like a pale spotlight upon a stage. Yet, as far as Emma could tell, there was no audience watching her. The comforting environment eased her nerves to a small degree. Emma found herself able to rationalize all that had happened. She told herself the beast was nothing more than a mangy bear. Frightened, she had tripped and fallen through the hole in the cave ceiling. All that nonsense about being tended to by a fleshy monster was nothing more than a dream. Indeed, Emma felt completely calm and rational. Her only concern was the gash atop her head. But judging by the dried clumps of blood in her hair, the wound had already clotted. In addition, Emma still felt sick to her stomach. No doubt, it was a lingering effect of that revolting and wholly imagined nightmare. A low chatter rumbled through the cave, and Emma saw a shadow play against the walls. She looked around for her camera, but found it was missing. "Hello," she said. There was no reply. "Is someone there? I'm hurt." But no one answered. Emma Wilton regained her footing, though her stomach churned and head spun in disarray. Despite the discomfort, she forged ahead, driven by the urgency to return to the hotel. Anticipating the receptionist's forthcoming acerbic remarks, she prioritized securing medical attention and a place to rest. Hopefully, Robbie had received the receptionist's message and would provide some solace in this predicament. Navigating the cavern's dim passages, Emma stumbled upon a series of childlike chalk drawings illuminated by the slanted moonlight. The sketches portrayed scenes of idyllic families with exaggerated, toothy grins. While seemingly innocuous, these images bore a disquieting distortion in their portrayal of human forms and expressions, hinting at an underlying unease. Amidst the sketches, a grotesque figure emerged, distinctly non-human in its depiction. With elongated limbs emerging from spotted masses of flesh and bulging, lidless eyes, it evoked a sense of primal dread in Emma, a familiarity that sent shivers coursing down her spine, triggering a wave of unsettling memories. Pressing onward through the labyrinthine tunnels, Emma followed smooth paths that wound through the cavern's murky depths. Cold, inky pools dotted her path, their depths concealed by darkness, inviting ominous speculation. Despite the throbbing ache in her head and the gnawing discomfort in her stomach, she pressed forward, guided by the faint glimmer of dawn peeking over the horizon, a beacon of hope in the encroaching darkness. Suddenly, a guttural roar pierced the silence, accompanied by the ominous scrape of flesh against stone. Fear surged through Emma, propelling her into the forest with a frantic urgency, her instincts screaming for flight as she fled blindly into the unknown, knowing that whatever pursued her was best left unseen and unacknowledged. Yet, her strength waned with each passing moment, her footsteps faltering as the relentless pursuit closed in. Desperate for refuge, she sought solace against the decaying trunk of a birch tree, her breath ragged, her heart pounding in her chest. Surveying her swollen belly, marked by veins tracing a network of invisible wounds, Emma faced the grim reality of her situation, a life-threatening hemorrhage left untreated, her very existence hanging in the balance. As Emma grappled with despair, she felt the stirring of life within her, a sensation both miraculous and terrifying. Her hand instinctively pressed against her abdomen, feeling the faint flutter of movement beneath her trembling fingertips. In that moment, she pondered the unforeseen turn her life had taken, robbed of love and left to face her fate alone. A lone soul adrift in a sea of uncertainty and apprehension. Suddenly aware of the imminent ordeal ahead, Emma's focus shifted from flight to the inexorable approach of childbirth. Despite her feeble attempts to fend off the encroaching creature, her body convulsed with the agonizing waves of labor, each contraction a searing reminder of her precarious situation, her strength waning with each passing moment. Although the revolting beast did not leave, it at least kept its distance. Its engorged eyes peered through the crooked trees while its tentacled limbs twisted and snapped. It was waiting. Another contraction sent shivering pain through her loins. She felt something burst between her legs, and a gush of hot liquid spilled onto the ground. The writhing mass of contorted limbs cooed with delight. Emma staggered to the ground. Birth is never a pleasant affair, but her pain was too sharp, too quick. Blood oozed down her thighs, soaking her trousers red. Tremors ran through her arms in tune with the violent pangs that wrenched her gut, and it took all her strength just to slip out of her clothes. When she did, to her horror, she saw a pair of pink, wormy hands forcing their way into the open air. Emma bit her tongue to suppress the screams rising in her throat, but she could not resist the swelling current of terror and skin-splitting pain. As the parasitic child exorcised itself from her bleeding womb, her tortured wailings reached greater and greater heights. Emma watched helplessly as the almost human baby ripped her vagina into a long and literal wound. By then, her agony had exceeded the limits of her perception, so that each new injury was a mere wisp lost amid a hellish conflagration. There seemed no end to the torment, but in time her trials finished, and before her lay a raw and mooling infant. The small creature looked up at Emma with eyes not unlike her own. It studied her briefly and mimicked her exhausted expression. And below the child's left ear, she noticed a pair of black moles. It was a feature she had only ever seen in the mirror, but there was something off about the child's appearance. Its lifeless eyes sat too many inches apart, its limbs reached too far, and its familiar smile stretched too wide. Only at a glance could that thing be called human. Just then, The lumbering mass beyond the trees issued a long bellow. Answering its command, the newborn scurried into the forest, dragging its shriveled afterbirth with it. That was the last Emma saw of it. As for the malformed beast, Emma was not safe just yet. The bristly heap of flesh peeled back the trees and pulled itself towards her. Emma grabbed her clothes and rose to her feet. Hot gore spilled down her legs, and a dreadful ache smoldered inside her. But she would not let the beast take her again. "Leave me alone," she screamed, and threw a rock. Emma didn't even wait to see if the rock hit. She bolted as far and fast as her feet would carry her. For well on an hour, Emma jogged through the trees. When she could jog no more, she decided to walk. And when she could not walk, she stopped to dress. There was still a small trickle of blood, but for the most part, her wounds had clotted. Dawn had bloomed in slanted shades of orange and red. A cool wind blew against Emma's face, and the trees swayed to and fro. The only sounds were of the squirrels chattering, the sparrows tweeting, and an incessant tap-tap-tap. Emma craned her head to stare up at the trees, and it was then she saw it, the ivory-billed woodpecker. The regal bird hacked away at a dead oak with its strong, straight bill. Its feathers shone red, white, and lustrous black. The long-lost bird was a beauty to behold, but all Emma could feel in the moment was contempt. In time, Emma found her way out of the forest and onto a narrow dirt path. She followed the long and lonely road back to Little Fork. There the townspeople called her an ambulance and sent her on her way. She did not tell them what she had endured, nor did she tell the doctors at the hospital. They would not believe her. They would not understand. Following the traumatic events in the woods, Emma entered a state of intense apathy. Her memories were now so full of pain. To avoid feeling them, she had learned not to feel at all. That night had changed her, and in her darkest hours, Emma wondered whether the monster had stolen her humanity as well as her womb. A week after the event took place, Emma received a phone call. It was Robbie. "Emma, I just heard the news. Are you okay?" he said. "Yes," Emma said. She did not want to talk about it, least of all with him. "I'm doing better now." "I am glad to hear that," Robbie said. "So it's all true then? What happened?" "I got a call from the hotel one day, and then the next." "We really don't need to discuss it," Emma said. "You made clear how you feel about me." Robbie scoffed. "Just because I don't want a serious relationship doesn't mean I can't worry about you. And of course I'm worried. The police said they found you naked in the woods." "What? What are you talking about?" "Police. I know it's embarrassing, but you don't need to lie to me," he said. "You attacked some lady and tried dragging her into the woods. They took you to a psych ward." "That wasn't me. I'm surprised they let you go, to be honest." "Robbie, that wasn't me." "When did this happen?" "A couple days ago." "But..." Emma hung up the phone. She did not doubt Robbie's story, but she did not want to hear it. She already knew the truth. Someone had attacked that lady. Someone was in the psych ward. A second Emma. A copy. An alternate.